What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, and it's time for the second part of the story. I know this doesn't really pertain to the Seahawks directly, at least not at this point, but it's something that I think a lot of Seahawks fans will at least have some degree of interest in. And it's also perhaps educational for some fans. So we're going to talk a little bit about Bobby Wagner and the Rams. So we all know that Bobby went to the Rams. We all know that the contract was reported to be 5 years, 5 million, and that sounded obscene. But I think we all understood that there's no way that's what the actual contract was. I don't think any team in the league right now would give $50 million over 5 years to an off-ball linebacker who is about to turn 32 and has so many miles on his body. So I think we all knew it wasn't going to be that kind of contract. I think we all understood that there was going to be something in the fine print that made this nowhere near that kind of deal. So yesterday evening, we got some details on the Bobby Wagner contract, and I thought I'd take a video to talk about it and also mention some of the comments that he made because they will be of interest to some Seahawks fans, and I think we should talk about it a little bit as well. So, Spotrac has the details of the contract as we know them right here. So let's take a look here. So 2022, so this upcoming season, the cap hit, and this is the number that actually matters for these teams, is $2.5 million. So the Rams are going to be paying Bobby Wagner less money against the cap than we are going to be paying LJ Collier against the cap. So there's no getting around it. That is a really good deal for the Rams for 1 year. So they are getting him for basically, I think, twice the veteran minimum. They are getting him for less than what you're seeing a guy like he's making barely, he's what, 60% of what Austin Blythe is making this year against the cap. So yeah, this is a good deal. So this contract is indeed backloaded, but that's not all. So the rest of the contract, as you can see, the cap hit is anywhere from 12 to 11.5 million. So basically call it 12 million a year for the duration of the contract after 2022. But there's another part of this as well. When can the Rams get out of it? Well, as most of us probably expected, the answer is after 2 seasons. So in 2023, Bobby's going to be making 12 million against the cap. He's actually going to be making, I think, 11 million, but it's going to count 12 million against the cap. And to move on from him would put a dead cap hit of 7.5 million. So odds are good the Rams are going to keep him around in 2023. So you are looking at this cap hit in 2023. This is probably, it's a moderately sized problem, right? $12 million to a 33-year-old middle linebacker with massive miles on his body. That's not good. You don't like that. That's not a positive event for your team. But I don't think they're going to let him go yet unless he completely falls off because they're only saving 4.5 million. However, in 2024, he's due another 12 million, and the dead cap for letting him go is only 3 million. So the guaranteed money that Bobby got in this deal, which is pretty manageable, 12.5 million, 5 million signing bonus, it's very, very low. Most of it is squeezed out by the end of year 2. So in 2024, I think that unless Bobby somehow manages to find the fountain of youth in LA and just has a dominant 2 years and shows that he's still an all-pro level linebacker, which it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, there's no way, no how he's going to be worth that to the Rams in 2 years. Then I think they will let him go and eat the 3 million. So by the time we get to 2024, 3 million against the cap is going to be pennies. It's going to be probably less than 1% of the cap. Who cares? So really, The 5-year, $50 million contract is more like a 2-year, $17.5 million deal, because you have 2.5, 12, 3. So it's really 2 years, 17.5. If by some miracle he manages to play well enough to justify a roster spot, or, well, not a roster spot, but the contract he got in 2024, then what? You're looking at 12 plus 12 plus 2, 26, so 28.5. So, assuming it is that 2-year, $17.5 million deal I was talking about, that is pretty well in line with what I think Bobby's worth, and it's not overextending themselves. Worst case scenario, Bobby is washed up and has an ineffective year, and then you're on the hook for him in 2023, but then it's done. So, no, this is not actually a 5-year deal. There's no way he sees most of this money, and the Rams set it up very well. Okay, so now that we have the contract details out of the way and we understand that the Rams did not actually go crazy, and we hope that somebody in the Seahawks organization looks at this and realizes how you can manipulate contract math, let's take a look at some of the stuff that Bobby said after officially signing this deal. He basically said he didn't pick the Rams just because they're in Seattle's division, but he cannot wait to remind the Seahawks what they gave up on. And the quote goes on, "A lot of people think that it went into my decision being able to play the Seahawks. I don't really have that much hate in my heart. I really wanted to be happy, and I wanted to be close to home and stay on the West Coast. That was important to me. But playing the Seahawks twice a year was the cherry on top. I'll make sure they see me every time we play. They'll know where I'm at, and I'll make sure I'll tell them. It won't be a quiet game for me." So let's establish something here. Okay, Bobby Wagner did not just decide to go to the Rams because he wants to get revenge on the Seahawks because we didn't tell him that we released him. Okay, I'm sure he's not happy about that, but he's not going to make the final big decision of his NFL career in all likelihood based off of something like that. The Seahawks employed him for 10 years. He made somewhere around $80 million, I think, and became one of the best linebackers in NFL history while he was here. Yes, it ended poorly, but what he's talking about here is something that tends to exist for any player that gets released when they think they're still good. I think this probably would have been the case. I think Bobby would have expressed these sentiments even if we had let him go in a more sensitive and appropriate way, like, contacting him. So I don't think that Bobby's trying to get revenge on us because we didn't release him in the right way and we were, very discombobulated about that. I don't think that's what this is. It still really annoys me that that was allowed to happen, and it really annoys me that if you listen to Pete and John, it's like they have no idea why that happened, which, yes, you do know. You do know you messed up, period. And that's something you cannot mess up on because it's so easy to get right. Okay? There are things in life where you make a mistake that's understandable. That kind of mistake is not understandable. And it still irritates me that that was allowed to happen. It makes us look like a mom and pop franchise that doesn't have enough employees to do things the right way or something. Like, where's all this money going that we're dumping into this organization? Like, do we not have enough employees to actually handle our business in a controlled manner? I don't know, but I digress. It's not fun reading a quote like this from a guy like Bobby Wagner, who I and almost every other Seahawks fan loves, but at the end of the day, I want to stress something here. Bobby's not making career decisions because he's mad that the Seahawks didn't tell him that he was getting released or that we released him at all. He's doing this because he wants to be on the West Coast, he wants to stay close to home, and he wants to join a team that gives him another really good chance at a Super Bowl. I don't doubt the fact that he's probably not happy about the way things ended in Seattle, and I don't blame him. I'm not happy about it either. But I want to push back on this notion that he's doing all this to get revenge on us. So get that out of your head. There's a healthy amount of irritation that a person can have at something like that, and then there's just plain being petty. And I don't think Bobby is so petty that he actually decided, you know what, I'm going to go to the Rams and I'm going to dominate the Seahawks twice a year for the next 2 years or 3 or whatever. So I'm not happy that that happened at all, but I don't think that's why he went to the Rams. He went to the Rams because it made the most sense for him. And that's really all I got to say about this one, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I know this, again, it's not fun to look at, but he's got a little bit of an axe to grind, and I guess I can't blame him. So we'll see if that axe comes to bear later this year. All right. No stream tonight in all likelihood, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Go Hawks. And Bobby's not happy.